Hey, this is True Omega Sun. Welcome to the Sunspot. This segment is called the Future Flow Show, and we're going to talk about radio frequency identification, mark of the beast, or exclusion move.
Please hit the like, comment, share, subscribe. Please hit the like, comment, share, subscribe.
Gotta do it 3 times.
Please hit the like, comment, share, subscribe.
We'll be back in 5 minutes.
Please hit the like, comment, share.
Wake up, another day, thank the creator. Last night was real, today's gonna be greater. Brainstorming, pondering ways to get my cake up. It's all about the money, but don't let the money make it. Just keep scraping the plate up. Don't cater to a hater, stay up.
And shine so brightly. Laugh into labor so white to me. Soul sprung from triple dark mystery. What do we have? Oh God, without fear, and He's divine. In the
What's the chatter, Earthly Matter? Welcome to the Future Flow. Here we highlight technology that is used in the modern times and that was used in ancient times. Hey, once again, this is True Omega Sun 88, straight out of the Sun Seeds. In this segment, this particular event right now is called the Future Flow Show. It's something that I dedicated through my IG, my Sun Seeds Facebook page as well. It basically exploring what's the new technology, what was done in the past, what's relatable in the future to come, and what's affecting us now. And one of those things are actually something that we use every day. And we heard the term mark of the beast, right? We've heard the term RFID. That's an acronym for radio frequency identification. And once we found out it was coming into a chip form, all panic and hysteria broke loose, right? But what do we understand and know about this? We've heard cashless society, the effect that it will have in the world markets and the economies, and definitely the American dollar bill. We're going to go into that. But first, we got to get some background information. Question is, how long has this technology has been in play? Well, it started off in around the late 1940s. 1948, a guy named Harry Stockman was a scientist. He put together these devices for radio frequency in order to find aircraft and also lost packages and things of this nature. You know, of course, around that time there was no evolution of the technology, so things were bulky. It took a lot of work and circuitry to get these things organized. But he would be the first one to put that term into play. Also in Russia, there was another scientist by the name of Leon Theremin. And this was in about 1963, so we're talking around the time where, you know, that rush to space was going on. And, you know, people finding more ways to make the technology that was around for so long smaller but more powerful. Definitely more directed into what they wanted to do with that said technology. So it's always said that not one person or one company is totally responsible for the actual bringing forth the RFID. But the patent first came in 1983 by Charles Walton, the first one to patent such device, and definitely label it RFID, and, you know, used to tag stuff for, you know, items for cargo, for trade, and definitely keep track of what was going on. Now, the radio frequencies are like from radar, you know, basically bouncing off the scanning mechanism back into the scanner, so they can properly locate these this equipment, these other devices that are linked to it, like was going back to the aircrafts and definitely land vehicles and things of that nature. So when we start talking about what it was purposed for, it was for the location of devices. I mean, the location of items, products. And we've been using this for a very long time. It wasn't until 1987. Well, 1977 had the first license plate that actually had the RFID transmitter in it, in any item. at that time, where you can efficiently locate the item. It did work previously, but now we're talking about something as small as a license plate, not something that's like a big box or anything like that. So moving forward, we see the technology get more advanced, become more compact, more convenient to use because of, it becomes lightweight, it becomes very small, intricate, but yet still powerful enough to do the job that is necessary for it. Going along the lines, we start to find them mostly into the trading business, the trading and commerce, where commodities and products are being traded all over the place. They want to be able to keep track of these shipments, and this is where the RFID plays a very huge role in what we do day to day as far as the trade lines and getting our packages and getting our cargo sent to us and also shipped out. So the next time you look on the Amazon and you're looking for tracking your package, there you have it. Now you actually have an RFID mechanism around you right now. Yeah, in the form of the cards, debit cards, credit cards, things of that nature. Even now into driver's license. This is why I'm saying it's important to track how intricate these things can get. And this is why there's also a scare. It's actually people being nervous about what is to come next. See, the purpose of these devices and this technology to be on a higher grade or even wireless is to introduce seamless technology or wireless technology, or you like to call it's like a step forward into the singularity. That's a huge point of consideration we have to take, a concern. That's way down the line, right? But what we're contending with now is that some of these, what the RFID has been compacted down to a radio transmitter about the size of the grain of rice. And it's powerful to contain enough information that all your records can be on it. And as its initial purpose, it may be used as a tracking device. Now, we've known that these things have actually been used as trackers for animals, older citizens that may get lost with dementia and Alzheimer's. But this is not, and this is why I put the second half of the title, is it also the exclusion move? Because this technology at this point, even though it's readily available, it still have a high price point. And when we hear about people talk about RFID, the chip, you're going to get the chip and everything like that, the first thing we think of is that it's going to be a free thing. Thank you, City. It's going to be a free thing for everybody to do. And it's not necessarily something that's going to be imposed like that. What starts it is the demand for it because of its convenience. See, one thing we have to understand is certain things that we have convenience, a lot of things get taken away. For instance, I grew up in a time of payphones. Payphones, you put your money in, it's a simple concept. Put your money in the phone, you pick up the phone, put your money in the phone, dial the number. Usually you had it on a piece of paper or you knew it by heart. That's the key. Your memorization skills were that way. You can remember up to 15, sometimes 20 numbers and know who you're calling, get the right call, and you would talk. It was nothing impersonal like you texting and you're missing the context of what the person is talking about. No voice inflections or no quality to truly understand what that message was saying when you send a text. But when you call somebody, it was kind of from the heart, and you would hear what the person was feeling. You would hear and understand. if this was a good time to talk or not, and more things were laid out around that time. It was a more sincere period. And not to say that today's ways are not sincere at all, but the technology puts a lot of gray area in between what one person says and what one person is getting as far as the message. So it was able to, call 10 people, 15 people, and remember those numbers. But with the convenience of those numbers being logged into the device itself, or even a SIM card, where the technology is in there so compact it can memorize it. The memory inside of the SIM card itself can go into hundreds of numbers, even maybe 1,000, depending on the power of your card. And depending on the power of your phone to back it up, the number increases. So these variables start to come into play, and you lose that part of your mind state where you can remember something like a 7-digit number, 10-digit number. This is what the trade-off of convenience does for the organic being. Notice I said that. So as we move on, there was a time where there were hard button alarms on clothing, because of course shoplifting in most neighborhoods, I don't care where you're from, it could be the city, downtrodden city, to the upper scale suburbs, estates. There's going to be shoplifters everywhere, especially if there's youth. They like to test boundaries. So it went from one point where there was chains, then they had the ink alarms, and then they had the sticker alarm. The ink alarms were pretty good as well, but they were more like if you pop them, the ink busts out and it ruins the clothes, and it also ruins the hands of the person that stole it, so they were able to be tracked exclusively and quickly. But the RFID in the sticker made a new twist of things. The silent alarms would be able to go off, and there was an anti-theft process that was seamless. Again, seamless. Now also moving forward into what your phone actually is, I actually do have a video and a blog on my Wealth Chambers Android app, on the Android app, the Wealth Chambers Show. And I talked about this cell phone and whether you're a prisoner of it, because there's so much information that may be intimate towards you, and there's so many things that you like to remember, tasks, numbers, and everything like that in the phone. So in the time of crisis, can you challenge yourself to drop that and keep moving? Will it be your anchor, just in case you had to go somewhere and you wind up dropping it or losing it, and you stop everything just to find it? This is the dilemma that comes up in a crisis mode. And as creatures of habit is another thing. We like to have our phones in our hand. We like to have something tangible in our hands, looking at, driving our information, driving our attention, making sure that we stay connected is a human trait. And now it's become from staying connected voice to voice to staying connected tablet to tablet, phone to phone, however you want to do it. So with the RFID and the phenomenon that is about, we fast forward to Sweden, which we heard and understood that now they are, emerging as a cashless society, and the gist of it is 30% of Sweden has undertaken the cashless process, meaning they can walk into a store. They don't have the chip per se, but they have scanners. There's also the QR scanners. There's also the tap with your phone process, and also tap with your card process. But there's less cash being used. That's 30% cash being used, and their networks are up, so these transactions seem seamless. Like there's really no effort to it. What we get when we talk about the RFID chip in a person's body, you have to look towards the body hacking community. That doesn't mean you hack up the body or anything like that. No. They would like to augment the technology with their person. Biohackers is another term, where they would like to interface with the actual technology in their bodies. So you have an apparatus that might be like a small needle, and they usually do it in the webbing of the hand between the index finger and the thumb, and implant the RFID device there. Now, it could be used for several things, and they may also have one in the inner arm, what they call the ulnar, I believe that is, like, in the forearm. And what it do, it gives access to their more personal, compatible formats. Like, say they want their door locked. They found the lock that actually is compatible with the chip that they're going to use, or they format it so it reads it properly. They're able to put their hand in front of the scanner and move it a certain way where they can open it, then move it back where they can close it. Another way is, like, say you go to your bike or your motorcycle. I wanted to play some of the clips for it, but of course with the YouTube regulations and things of that nature, I'm going to slow down and let that be what it is. Go check for biohackers. You'll see tons of information on it, some very good information and some alarming information. Definitely, when you start to look at it, your mind will be boggled. But this is the Future Flow Show, and as we go, we'll see how these things link with Elon Musk's Neuralink project. And considering the fact that there are actually prosthetics for wounded people that have missing limbs and things of that nature, where the Neuralink can actually play a very good part. But there's also the nefarious concept where people want to use these body hacking or biohacking apparatus to kind of step out of the human experience into the more cyborg experience, and that's where it can be very tricky, very contentious, and we have to watch for that, right? So remember the term mark of the beast. It was written in the Bible, understanding the number of man, which is the number of beast, 666. And what it does to a mindset that is religious and empowered by religion and the literature thereof, and base their moral understandings on it, they will definitely say no, definitely wipe out all feasible concepts of having such a device implanted in their skin, more or less. No, not at all, not at all. It's too invasive. I understand that. I'm not an advocate for it either. It's not so much because of what the Bible says, but definitely when you have certain things that are invasive in your being, who's to know what's going to happen after that? Remember, your body is still evolving into, new states. You change your skin every 60 days. And that's something to, take heed to and definitely be aware about. So, when we talk about the biohacking and the augmentations and stepping out of the quote-unquote organic field into the mixed field with silicone and carbon carbon fiber and these things to make the cyborg experience available. We also flash into movies where we've seen such events, sites, concepts brought into fruition. I would like to go into iRobot, but we're gonna fall back a little from that. More into the AI, if you ever seen that movie. Yeah, this when artificial intelligence was starting to make its move. Of course, there's the more refined portions where the speech was available. They had a large database, and they built their economies, and everything was running quote unquote seamless and flawless. But they excluded what was perceived to be lesser AI, and that became a contention in that concept. 1984, George Wells. I mean, the Orwellian experience of just being able to move around in this completely futuristic environment, alien to the times of old, alien to the ways of natural man. And this is where the rubber meets the road when it comes to the new frontier of cybernetics, of singularity. Singularity is totally in contrast to what we call consciousness. The singularity is the building of the database of all pertinent information and data put together in one source, where this information and data is disseminated amongst different portions of that singularity in AI into its working factors, its working points. From the logging of the computer commands all the way up to the robot forming its own decisions off the singularity, off the artificial intelligence, as we see now. We're actually giving information away through Alexa, Siri, Cortana, what's the other, Bixby. And it becomes a thing where the theory is no longer theory but a working practice. It's an action. It's actually happening. We have about 40 to 50,000 Americans, it's between that range, that are active body hackers. Yeah, active body hackers. And when you seen the little clip that I showed in the intro, also like, comment, share, subscribe, right? When you see the little clip that I showed, there was this young guy that had this eye. There was circuitry in his eye, and what it does is change the color of his eye on command through the neural link. Oh, freaky stuff. That's one of the reasons why I developed this show, the Future Flow Show. Show you how these things are going to go. You're going to be able to walk into your house, and just because you have a preset code on your hand, or let's not go too invasive, on your smartphone, you have a preset already to walk into the climate and condition of your home. Change it to 68 degrees, where in zone 1, the living room. Change it to 65 degrees, where in the kitchen. Stuff like that. Where you walk by a mirror, and in the mirror, a small video comes on, a visual of today's news, of your favorite YouTube show, something in the midst, and then as you walk away, it cuts off automatically. seamless technology. We see it. We actually use it. We're able to take out the picture that we're looking at from our phone and shoot it right up to our smart TVs. Seamless technology. The use of wires. And now we talk about the exclusion move. I talked with a colleague of mine and we were speaking about the movie Demolition Man. Demolition Man, the premise is that these beings were put into a cryogenic state, meaning it freezes the body and keeps the consciousness around. But while this body was in stasis, you were able to either put new information in, take old information out, and prune the consciousness in a way, because it was a rehabilitation program for some of the hardest criminals. And somehow one of the police, being in Sylvester Stallone, who was playing the role of the police at that time, was considered a dangerous individual put into cryogenic stasis, right? Going into the depth of the concept of the actual movie, there were two societies, one above ground and one below ground. The ones above ground were living that seamless technology mind state, the dystopia, where, you know, simplicity is actually a virtue, and you're a person of means by showing you're being aloft and very with the air of importance and decency, and it was just a lot of fluff to cover up the bull crap, because they were actually oppressing the people that were living underground, who they loved what their culture used to be about: natural decision making, mano a mano, real sex, real taste of food. And they didn't get the best of food, they ate the scraps. Sounds familiar? But they made something out of it and developed their own societies, and what also form a rebellion union where they would go up and get some resources to bring back to themselves, because the resources became to get scarce. And those that were above were hoarding. So we had the mark of the beast, where we could see them. When I say them, we could see a corrupted body trying to use it to corral groups of people to basically be cattle. Because the RFID chip is used for tracking of cattle. The numbering system. But like I said, it's also a game being played to make you feel like you want to have it. And if not, you will be excluded. Excluded from what? Excluded from the general economy. The general economy that have you to participate in world activities, social behavior. You know, like going to the game, buying a soda, buying a car, paying your bills, trying to make the physical nature of currency obsolete. Now the thing is to ask, should we want to be included? Is this an exclusion move to hoard more resources amongst a small group while the many suffer on the outside, having to scrape and scrap for resources? And because you don't have said chip, you're excluded from all activities. Now, like I said, the mark of the beast is the mark of man. But man is making these decisions. Yeah. It's not like somebody's going to jump out the sky and say, hey, take the tip out your hand. What are you doing? It's going to be a decision for you to do. It's going to be a decision for me to consider. And this is why this is in effect. And also have to give off a lot of a lot of kudos to contributors to this topic, like Business Insider, like Wired, definitely, CNET. It's a lot of stuff you got to pull from all over the place. Cracked. A lot of stuff from independent writers that do want to put out this information for you to look over it and do your due diligence and come up with a conclusion for yourself. Not just to be not to just stay in one spot and say this is the conclusion, this is the end all be all. I think there's a way to do this without being so invasive. Still include communities, and mind you, we still have a large population of people that are not technologically linked at all. And we're talking about technological advances in the next 5 to 10 years that may make 1990 look like 1950s. And we need people in there. We need people in there to know what's the next moves, how to code, how to change up the system, be a little more transparent with the information, and also develop your own. Well, we need, when I say we, those that may be considered to be in the exclusion move on the outside looking in, may need some people on the inside to help out. Yeah. These are important issues that when they come up, you and your friends try to issue that conversation. See where it goes. Are we just settling for the propaganda that was given to us through the scriptures, through the movies, to make our decisions? Is there a working model that can be developed that can help the situation rather hurt the situation? Man, do we even have to settle for an RFID chip? What in the world are you talking about? Those are all the questions that's on the board. I don't have all the answers. I'm not a definitive voice, but I'm looking towards the issue, trying to find a solution, trying to find a purpose for this. And I implore you to do the same. As we conclude, because I have my little ways, as we conclude, I want you all to have a beautiful time.
Comment, share, subscribe. Please hit the like, comment,
Yeah, I know.
share, subscribe. Please hit the like, comment, share, subscribe. Please hit the like, comment, share, subscribe. Please hit the like,
I know.
comment, share, subscribe.
I want you all to have a good time with you and your folks. Talk about what can transpire in the future, especially if we're not in the state of mind to process all this information and get it out and disseminate it to people. Remember, we don't even have CDs too much anymore. DVDs, tapes, VH cassettes. All this is going digital. And there are soon to be, if not already, so many roadblocks between you getting the information and somebody else getting the information. And you be able to give it off to 10, 20, 50 people. It's becoming, very a daunting task. And also, you have a lot of people that may be throwing you off the track. So stay focused. When you hear that word frequency, you have a frequency too. It emits from inside of you. Make sure you're able to bring that up. Raise the vibration. Guard your energy as always. And I thank you for coming to the Future Flow Show. Be on the lookout, Sunspot. Every once in a while, the notifications, they're up. I hope you can hit the bell